In solo leveling, after the fraud known as Goto Ryuji stated that he was going to unalive my glorious king after he kept dodging every single one of his slow-ass attacks, Ryuji managed to slightly graze his left cheek, making the system warn him that the enemy was expressing murderous intent. Ryuji then hit him with a powerful blow, but he was suddenly taken aback, as my glorious king had easily blocked his silly-ass attack, giving him a menacing smile. He thought that if he kept playing around, he would end up receiving an urgent quest like he did with Hwang Dong-suk and Kang Tae-shik. Ryuji questioned why he was so strong, and to make it worse, he could have grabbed his wrist ending the match, but he purposely grabbed his hand instead. He asked if he was really trying to play around with him, making Jinwoo reply saying that he had no idea what he just said. But the game would have been over if he had grabbed his wrist, and he was sure he didn't want things to just end there. Both hunters suddenly charged toward each other with tremendous speed, shocking both Baek Yoonho and Mami Cha for just how fast they were going. But before both of them could make an impact against one another, the two of them were suddenly restrained in an instant by their respective teams using every ounce of their strength, as Kei activated one of his spells, creating a barrier between them. Barely holding on, Yoonho went on to say that that was enough, stating that Ryuji was the man in charge of leading the Japanese team in a few days, as Mami Cha explained that they wouldn't be able to handle the consequences if something were to happen to him. Yoonho then told Hanekawa that the sparring session had gotten overly heated, so they should call it a day, and then asked my glorious king if he had overstepped his boundaries by restraining him, but he replied saying not at all. Dongwook laughed, saying he couldn't believe he went up against the great Goto Ryuji, and walked away with only a scratch, saying it was impressive. He then said that he had a spectacular build, inviting him to his guild since it was chock full of mages and didn't have enough fighters. But Choi Jong-un interrupted, explaining that he was a mage type, which shocked him. Jinwoo took out a deep sigh, thinking that he got a little too excited, but he now had a good grasp of how strong everyone was. He's had close encounters with multiple hunters, including Goto Ryuji so far, but even though they were all S ranks, they still haven't been able to notice the soldiers hiding in their shadows. Not even Goto Ryu Fraud had sensed anything out of the ordinary. He then reiterated to the chairman about his request for him to participate in the Jeju raid, saying he had finally decided on his answer. The panel then switched over to Hanekawa, seeing that there was something wrong with the fraud, as he was hyperventilating, showing an expression of absolute horror.